Good morning. Hello, Laura. I think you're the only one here so far. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. How was your weekend, Laura? Morning, Rachel. How are you doing? How was everybody's weekend? I saw this morning that Iran and the United States still can't come to an agreement on anything. Shocker. Color me shocked. Slow this morning. Yeah. Hey, Linda. There are a lot. I feel like we're going through a time period of like people were getting into it and now people are like, okay, I've been into it for a while. I need to take a step back if I want to be able to like survive the last major push kind of a thing. At least that's what I hope's going on, and it's not just people are tired of my content. I didn't think so. I was just being weird. I agree, weird is usually good. I mean, I've even been going through it. I've been struggling to make content for social media because I'm just like, I feel like I'm going through this down of just not. I wish I had like a ton. I'm not doing candidates at 9:30. I will again. I'm just struggling to get going. So I'm running out of time to set all that up because that involves extra setup to make it happen. And I've been so busy that I haven't been able to like get going. So I've just been posting them for a bit. I'll get back into it. I promise. Morning, Aaron. But yeah, my brain has felt overwhelmed, not just with the news, but like just in life in general. Oh, is the Trump phone scam back in the news? Wish I were surprised. No pockets, no purchase. There you go. Do it. Morning, Jeremiah. That really needs some investigation. He's got 59 million in deposits. You know, it would be, yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah. I don't see how I don't see how anything's really going to happen until he's out of office, but yep, I agree. I agree. I agree. Sorry. I'm really in a weird mood. And I'm struggling just like it's so the news is frustrating because it's all the same thing now. Like there's nothing new, I feel like, to talk about. It's either Iran or Trump doing something or the cost of gas or like I don't know. Wasn't it his sons who did it? I think they're the ones who created it. Yes. I like how they say, I'm reading this title. It says GOP infighting in Congress slows Trump's agenda as midterms loom. They're not doing anything. They're not slowing Trump's agenda. Trump's been leading by executive order. Congress is doing nothing. Hey, Summer. How are you, my friend? The phones have never been manufactured. Yes, correct. It's a grift. Always a grift. It was all crazy MAGA that paid $100 so I could care less about their loss. True. Not too shabby. Sun is out. Coffee is plentiful and hot. Heck yeah. It's dreary here. Like it looks like it's going to rain. There's interesting info on the reflecting pool updates. Is there? Look it up. Trump gave $6.9 million contract to his pool guy under exemption for urgent situations. Trump touts American flag blue paint job on Lincoln Memorial reflecting, of course. That is the ugliest. The reflecting pool is going to look so bad. I'm sorry. That looks gross. Like, this is gross. Hold on. See if I can. Show you guys this without having to like add. I think it's down here, right? Look at this thing. This is gross. They drove the presidential motorcade down the reflecting pool and caused damage to it. Of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did. What's up for today? Oh, probably the same old BS, Clara, if we're being honest. Same BS, different day. Trump drives across Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Here it is. So dumb. Morning, Ambrosia. Yep. Look at that. That is so ridiculous. Dumb. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know. It boggles my mind. The whole thing boggles my mind. This is the problem, right? Like, we talk about these things and like Haas just raging at the idiocy of this man. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like every time we talk about these things, I'm just like my response now is, yep, I hope people get their asses out and vote. Oh. And he just spent it as if he, yeah, because he called it an emergency. It was an emergency. Come on. Everything's an emergency. That's how he gets around it all. Always an emergency. Didn't you know you could just get around anything by calling it an emergency? Just feels like a whack-a-mole. That requires Congress to do its job, Linda. And we already know Congress ain't gonna do that. Yep. Yeah, it's just the same old, same old. That's kind of why a lot of my topics have changed in general. Like what I really want to talk about has kind of different because I don't know how anyone can just sit here and still be mad about the same stuff as though it's new. Heck, that's why I'm kind of like back on the Epstein files, because when used as intended, an actual reflection pond there was meaningful. Sure. Cool. Yeah. I got you. I got you. Sure, it's meaningful. Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, most of the stuff that's on fire everywhere else is probably a result of a lot of the batshit crazy stuff that's being done. But in the end, it's not fixing the problem. It's just people being mad for being mad's sake. And again, I understand people being mad. I'm mad constantly, constantly mad. But I want to fix it. That's the difference. My county sheriff office, county correction system, and various town police are being investigated for racketeering and prostitution. Well, great. Yeah. Whew. Guys, also, what day was it? Was it Saturday? Friday? I forget which day it was. I posted a thing on Threads. And the question was, here, I'll read you the question. And tell me if you think that I should have gotten the I'll just read the initial response from the guy. Why are Americans so obsessed with being identified with a party? They are corporations with no actual views, empathy, or humanity. People over party. That's what I wrote. Not crazy, right? Nothing crazy about it. This person responded basically like, do you not understand how electoral politics function? Or is this one of those attempts to sane wash the right? And then I wrote, you think electoral politics requires voters to identify fully with a party? I don't. And I fully understand it. He's like, I think there are two viable parties. They are distinctly different. One party will appeal more to a person than the other. No idea what you mean by identify fully with a party. It's not a religion with commandments. Splitting the vote. That's the problem. No, this was a left person. That's the crazy thing. Morning, Kia. A interesting thread from my threads where a guy compared me to that party from the 1930s and et cetera, all because I said all because I asked a question on threads, why are so many Americans obsessed with identifying specifically with a party, like identifying with a party, not registering with a party because that's the way you vote, but identifying. My whole FYP being the hantavirus panic. I mean, I definitely think we need to pay attention to it. Did you see the Marjorie Taylor Greene says that she's got natural immunity to it because and the way you stop it is ivermectin or whatever it is. Basically like the same stuff that she said to that they were saying about how to prevent, you know, how to deal with COVID. But it's being overblown. I think anyone who is not super worried about any virus that could become pandemic level with the man who botched the response to the first pandemic, I think that's what scares me. I mean, obviously the hantavirus, whatever it's called, is frightening by its very nature. But honestly, I'm more worried about if it gets worse, what this administration will cause or allow to happen because of their stupidity. To an extent, I would rather be overcautious than undercautious. So correct. Under a different administration with an actual working CDC and a man in charge of HHS that you know, has a full brain without a worm rotting in it and all the other stupid stuff. Well, I mean, Ambrosia, the one thing to remember is social media by its very nature makes things seem bigger than they are. I don't think the country as a whole looks at it as though we are at or anywhere near COVID pandemic levels. Also true. We don't want to be at a pandemic before we take it seriously. Also true. Yep. Reactionary is especially the GOP's bread and butter. It's, oh, you're gushing from an artery wound. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Not actually like fix the problem and try and figure out why you got a gushing artery wound in the first place. Yep. You right. You right. You right, Kia. See, I said it. You right. The White House will be saying, sunlight gets rid of it. Aaron, come on. Everyone knows sunlight is the ultimate will get rid of all viruses. One of my main concerns right now is the blatant racism ripping through the states in our legislatures. Yep. Yeah, that video of the guy of the legislature specifically be like, I can't wait until the I can't wait until the Supreme Court overturns the 14th Amendment. That was frightening. As an agoraphobic, this world seems more and more unsafe. I guess I wish we weren't back at this point again, having to even have to discuss about whether or not this is serious. Yeah. I mean, isn't that always the case, though? Kind of like if we have to ask, is it too late already? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from what I am hearing, at least certain groups, especially ones that involve people that were on that ship, are at least somewhat taking it seriously enough. I guess that's a question that I'd have to look deeper into, but they're definitely somewhat taking it seriously. Because I heard that the Americans that were on the ship, or at least the ones they have access to, I don't know how many. I didn't finish reading the article before I had to go live. Are being taken to a place in Colorado, I think. For observation and et cetera, et cetera. The other concern is in less than a month, Canada, Mexico, and the US will be hosting the World Cup. That is definitely a concern. 100%. 100%. My cousin is a very accomplished epidemiologist, as in he had Fauci's phone number level. I try not to worry much until he tells me to. That's fair. That's fair. Nebraska? Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head. See if I can find it. You got good food on Saturday? Good. Heck yeah. Sure, it was like 20 bucks, but it was for Mother's Day. So, like, it was worth it. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I know, long time no see, Kia. There are like 11 World Cup games being hosted 30 minutes from my house. Oof. What's the question? A bunch of the people that were on, the Americans that were on the ship got sent somewhere, like a quarantine area. Yeah, Tennessee, it was Omaha. Okay. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate you guys. Hey, Jason. Morning, Emma. Hey, Lori. Why Omaha? My guess is they have the facilities necessary to be able to handle everything. Hey, Shadow. This is where my hermit tendencies come in clutch. Truth. Same place they sent the Ebola patient a few years back. Gotcha. Soon no one will have nothing. Oh, everyone will have something. I don't know why you think no one will have nothing. Hey, OC. How are things in Jersey? I was doing a press conference from Omaha now. Oh. How if they keep price gouging? Because people will still have stuff. Will they have less? Sure. People will still have things. And at some point, if they keep going, everything will crash and the prices will go down. A lot of people will be harmed and probably a lot of people will lose their lives, but or we'll have some sort of, you know, French Revolution style thing go on. Let me say this. Tennessee has a track record of being shit. Yep. Sure do. They sure do. I think a lot of things are going to change as time goes on. I think you're going to see some massive change. In the grand scheme of things, Nebraska is kind of isolated, so it's easier to contain something of this nature. It's also true. If you're gonna contain a super dangerous virus, potentially middle of nowhere, would be wise. Totally agree. Anyone else get their pandemic TikTok dances ready? Hey, Stu. Hey, Courtney. Well, maybe I'll be going back to karaoke if we get TikTok online karaoke. Did that full time for most of the pandemic. Alaska tundra would be better. Yeah, but harder to travel to and from. Electric Boogaloo. Hey, Kelly. Good morning. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the heart me's. I appreciate you all. Guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that button. Only 1,500 in 7 minutes. The faster we get to 10,000, the faster, the better, the more people will see it. Definitely isn't Alaska. A lot of things are hard to get over here. Yep. And expensive. Emma, did you see the interview I did with the guy who's running for governor? Why should we care about the e-files? Are you really asking that? Morning, Deidre. How are you doing? Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone's weekend was well. Mine was busy. Busy. So busy. Yes, happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers in here. Yes. I read 478 books in 2020, Guess I need to work on my TBR list and add some titles. Dang. Watch John Wick. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Watch some John Wick, baby. I know, right, Stu? It's wild. Wild that we worry about one of the worst trafficking rings in American history. Potentially world history. Modern world history. Obviously, there were worse. During the times of things like slavery. Son got me Waffle House. Heck yeah. Yeah, 478 books is pretty impressive, Aaron. Literally more than a book a day. Correct, Oak. Correct. Hubs did the laundry, dishes, vacuum, dusted, got plants for outside, cooked. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Let's go. Finally fixed the chicken coop. There you go. Sounds like the best present you could get. Took your wife out to Chili's. So tired I forgot I made myself breakfast, but also forgot coffee. Dang. People are still, they don't have a choice. Like, you think, like, you think because the cost of living goes up, people stop spending the money that they have? And it's called credit cards. A lot are going deeper and deeper into debt. People are starting to buy food and necessities on credit or on pay over time because that's the only way they can afford it. Play golf? Are you asking me if I play golf? No, I don't. Why would I waste my money on golf? Sadly, even I have credit card debt now, first time in my life. Talented, I'm sorry to hear that. Golf is a rich man privilege sport. Hate to tell you. Especially now. Especially now. You've been enjoying Gosling watching? There you go. Golf is also boring. I used to like going to the driving range and stuff. It was great for getting out some aggression, but got to pay for kids' SAT prep and cram school, still cheaper than college tuition. True. True. Hey, Alejandra. Always wanted to learn to play golf. See, the thing that I potentially like about the idea of golf is the doing stuff with people. But there's a lot of other games that you could play with people that golf is easily the best sport. No, it's not. No, it's not. Again, every course is full with rich, privileged people. Yeah. Still rich or privileged, or both. If you can afford golf clubs and to go golfing, that is a rich or privileged ability. Golf courses are absolutely bad for the environment. Hey, Gina. I got banned from driving the golf cart when my granddaddy golfs. There you go. I'm doing good. How are you? Tired. Been a long weekend. Sounds like there's a lot of rich people not struggling. Ha ha. Ha ha. I love how people are no, man. I'm not privileged. Guys, I'm not privileged. Politics isn't a sport, Ross. Guys, I'm not privileged. I got my golf clubs from a yard sale. Don't worry, not privileged. And again, I have nothing specific against golf. Conspiracy theories are out again. Yesterday I saw a post that causes the COVID. Oh no. Oh no, Prairie. God. Hey Ziggy. Good morning. Beach walking isn't a sport, but I like it. It's understandable. I like walking on the beach too. Just having the free time to do a hobby for most of the day is privilege. Yup. Just tap 3.5K times. Thank you, OC. Hiking. I love hiking. You don't understand what privilege is then, Michael. Privilege doesn't mean you don't work hard. I've been working since I was 13. Still privileged. Most of my jobs, I was working anywhere from 40 when I was younger to 80 to 100. I worked my butt off. Doesn't make me any less privileged. Why, Ambrosia? They were obsessed because they thought because there were a lot of people at golf courses that meant that the economy was doing fine, that people were doing fine because they could afford to go play golf. I mean, Prey, that's definitely one of them, for sure. There's a lot of different kinds of privilege. That's definitely the I would say the bigger, more obvious one. Having a job that pays you a living wage is pretty privileged right now. That's true. Actually, it is. It's rare for anyone to be able to get a job that pays a living wage in this country now. It is harder to get a living wage from a job than it is most things. How I have a high school diploma and make 100. Again, that is privilege. Jeez. No, it's not easy to get a job, Benny. Not a job that pays enough. Go to trade school. Those jobs can't get filled fast enough. Morning, Dee Dee. I like how people are just like, it's easy. Just go do this job. I mean, it's not a waste of time. Might be a waste of money. Why is the answer always trade school? Because it's a job they don't want to do, so they want all the people without privilege to go get the jobs that they don't want to do. That's why, Emma. They want to get the back-breaking, never-ending jobs. I find being retired a privilege, but I do worry about my Gen Z grandchildren in this insane world trying to make life for themselves. Yep. Yep. 100%. Sure. It's a privilege right now to have a job, to be able to afford, especially to have a job that pays a living wage. Now, it is a privilege now. Took me 500 applications, 3 interviews, and 1 second round interview. Yep. Yeah, we were talking about that on Friday. How many people are, or Thursday, I forget which. How many people are looking for work right now? The other thing that's funny about people with the trade schools is they think that like once you decide to go to trade school at that moment, magically you can afford to live. You can't survive right now? Oh, just go to trade school instead of have a job. And with the far right in office, losing union protections in future will decimate those jobs too. True. It's true. How are recent college students doing? Struggling, suffering. Because there aren't jobs out there, especially ones that pay a living wage. Like trade school is free. That too. Danae, thank you. Living at home with their parents. Prove it. Prove that all recent college students are living at home with their parents. And if they are, so what? Also prove that they don't have to pay rent because their parents are doing fine. Also prove that they don't have other bills that they need to pay. What does them living at home with their parents have to do with anything? That just means they can't find a job. Okay. Well, then I apologize. It did not seem that way from your statements. At least not to me, but it's always hard with text. No, you're good. It's always hard with text. I understand that. And I'm tired, so sometimes that makes it easier to jump to conclusions that maybe aren't real. So I apologize. Correct. Living at home does not mean they can't find a job, although most of them can't find jobs. The fact is you're more likely to be able to find a job because you know someone than actually because there are jobs available. It takes a lot of planning to succeed. Not in 2026. It takes a lot of luck to succeed if you're younger. Because this country does everything it can. They have to get off the couch. Grow up. I hate this idea that just because people don't have a job, it means they're lazy. That is another privileged idea. Does that mean there aren't lazy people? Of course. But making a generalized statement as though people that don't have jobs are just being lazy is ignorant. Well, yeah, wasn't the 70s like, wasn't it like there was a really high unemployment rate in the 70s, wasn't there? Had to work 2 jobs in the last 10 years to make ends meet. That's crazy, Gloria. We had a gas shortage in the late 70s. Well, yeah, the 70s was before they opened up to the world market, wasn't it? Interest rates were 20%, yeah. And yet you were still somehow able to survive. Crazy, right? You were still somehow able to survive. Where now, the way you survive is by putting yourself in such a hole that you won't be able to anymore. What's up, Ghost? Hey, Papa. Hey, AJ. Oh, yeah, it's nuts. I looked up the value of the house that my parents bought back in the 70s. They bought this house for $50,000. That house is worth like $750,000 now. The cards are so stacked against the youth. They're stacked against everybody, but people that grew up when it was easier to get started have have the ability to fall back on something that young people don't. Hey, Patty. I think that's the big difference. Yes, it is worse for the youth because they aren't able to build up anything. Why do Republicans claim the economy is so great? So there's two different answers to that. So the ones that are struggling have just kind of been almost brainwashed, I guess, to this idea that the reason that they succeeded is because of conservative values. They've been taught that things like the stock market are the economy. Things aren't affecting them as much. So they come from a privileged, whether they're wealthy, so it's not hitting them as hard. Can't buy a car with values. They've been taught that every problem that ever exists is not anything they've ever done. It's always the other side. 6 months away from a societal collapse. Okay. We'll see. We're also supposed to have, you know, the second coming of Christ like 20 times in the last 2 years. So I guess we'll find out. They have help from generational wealth. Yep. I found a tuition bill in my mom's belongings. Her whole semester in 1974 was $1,200. Yep. Now, $1,200 was still a lot back then. Aren't we all supposed to be driving flying cars now too? Yeah, probably. I did not see SNL this weekend. No. My kid is on scholarship, but the tuition at their school is $95K. Yeah. Seriously. Like I said, I mean, it's in terms of compared to wages, it's absolutely insane for sure. I just think sometimes you hear $1,200, and for us nowadays, we go $1,200. That's, you know, that's a Tuesday. But we also need to remind ourselves what was considered, like, what pay was like in the 70s. My daughter is going to college soon, but the middle class never qualifies for financial aid. I worked for $3.45 an hour, and that was a good salary then. Mm-hmm. I mean, for most of American life, for most of America, the existence of America, going for a higher education was considered a wealthy privilege. Like when they started teaching everyone, that was huge. Education, like even basic education, was a privilege for a lot of this country's existence. for a lot of the world's existence. Seriously, Kia. At this point, Christ came back, aliens came here, super volcano, Y2K. Yep. Yep. My parents sold our home in 69 for 25K. It's now 1.5 million. That's insanity. That is absolute insanity. I mean, even ours. Ranked choice, love it. Bring on ranked choice voting. I would love ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting would be absolutely amazing. If aliens come, I'll leave with them. I still think it's hilarious to me how many Americans base what they think the future of AI, what interacting with aliens is going to be like everything that is in the future based on what they see in the movies. Like if you think about all the fears people have of AI, it's because of what someone dreamed up in a movie, which is wild to me. What is ranked choice voting? Ranked choice voting is a way of voting where instead of just making a choice, you rank all the choices or as many choices as you want. But you rank all the choices. So basically you just pick your first your top choice, the one you would want to win the most. And when they add them all up, if no one breaks 50%, then whoever is at the bottom, and it could either bottom 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter depending on the number. Whoever's at the bottom, they take everyone that voted for them as their number 1 and they look at who they voted as their number 2 and then add them all together. If it still doesn't go 50, then they take the next one at the bottom off until somebody breaks 50. So ranked choice voting would probably open up the chance for a third party to actually win. We should get our candidates like we do for jury duty. What do you mean, Mandy? That's an interesting statement. I want to make sure I fully understand what you mean by that. Of course, Lori. I read Asimov's robot series in middle school. It definitely affected how I feel about AI today. I mean, how many people have said that, you know, Skynet is going to be real? Now, could it? Sure. I don't know. None of us know. We make a lot of assumptions about things that we've never experienced. Do I think we should put protections in? Also, sure. Skynet is Terminator. Skynet is the company that created the AI that took over the world in Terminator. I want a phone home. Things are so bad. I'm looking forward to an alien invasion or AI tyranny. I mean, you got AI, you got so many AI movies that what was that? The Hello Dave. iRobot. Yep. 2001 Space Odyssey. Thank you. Minority Report. Is this because of the Connecticut AI regulations? No, I just think it's funny how we as a country assume a lot of things, Donovan, like about things that we just don't know. It's just more of a generality. We do it with a lot of things right now. Community people can come up if you want. Age of Ultron. Yeah. A lot of Ultron stuff. Hello.
Hey. I think part of the issue is because people just think for some reason that people are good and they're just not going to do that. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. The cabinet would never do that. SCOTUS would never do that. The president would never do that. We're Americans. We would never do that. Shit.
Well, again, as someone who maybe not as insane as some of these MAGA people did, had a slight mentality in that direction. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of assumptions that people make about a lot of things, and it's wild. For a groups of people that grew up with the statement, you know what it says about someone who assumes that they make an ass out of you and me. Like, I grew up with that statement. That's why, one of the reasons I don't assume, because I have too many times been made an ass of because of it. So I do my best to not make assumptions. And yet, so many in this country do non-stop. What's up, Shug?
Hey,
Yo,
Shay.
hey, how y'all balls doing?
Oh, you know, just ooh, someone's a noob.
Oh, true.
And I'm like, there's somebody else talking.
Yeah, sorry, that was y'all heard the video in the background, but we rectified that situation.
You know, Gloria, it's funny because when my oldest son graduated in 2018, we went to Mexico, and the place that we stayed at, instead of having like a room key or a key card, you wore like a watch thing, and everything was like, so you could wear it in the water. It was just like more like a plastic band with a plastic face, but it unlocked your room. They were color coded by age, so you know if you could drink or not. What package, you know, the different packages, because we stayed at the resort, so we were able to go to all of the parks that they have, and we didn't have to pay any extra for any of them. It yeah, being able to pay with your phone, especially when you've left your wallet at home, is such an amazing technology. I have to say I love it. You know, I think it's insane. You can tap with your phone at Dollar Tree, but you still can't at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, there are reasons for that, and it all has to do with money. Walmart is cheap. I mean, which we knew, in the sense of like they will do anything they can to make as much money as possible, and that it costs extra for that ability, not just the new systems in the actual stores, but the companies that they have to go through in order to make those charges happen, charge extra for that capability. And Walmart's cheap AF, and they're like, we don't want to spend it. We don't want to pay the people that work for us enough to survive. Why would we want to pay a little extra?
I guess I just struggle with that thought process because I mean, Dollar Tree, hello, everything is cheap at Dollar Tree. Literally. Those people, the people that work at Dollar Tree make even less than they do at Walmart. But Walmart can text you a copy of your receipt, but you don't want to let me pay. I can text a copy of my receipt and I can use that copy of said receipt to make returns and everything else. But I can't use that same phone that you texted that receipt to me to pay for my stuff. It's insane.
The
You can't even do the tap. Like with your card physically there, you have to insert your card.
The only reason that I could see them changing is if they felt that they were losing business because of it. And they don't feel like they are. So
Yeah, a lady told me when I went the other day, she said that they're coming up with a Walmart Pay, like how they have a Google Pay and all that. They're working on a Walmart Pay.
Walmart Pay?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah,
well,
that's much more effective than just tapping, I guess. Walmart Pay. Boy.
so, and this is the thing, I mean, you're seeing this in a lot of companies in general too. A lot of businesses are trying to find ways to get out of using these one size fit all things. Like even you're seeing a lot of the big companies, the big creators on like the Tube, they're going to their own websites with their own subscriptions, and they put 90% of their content on their own sites now. You're just seeing a massive you're starting to see a massive switch from this one place for everything to you have to decide where you want to put your money again.
Yeah, I'm not a big Walmart shopper except for a couple of things. Like since the one kind of coffee I drink, because I'm not like truly a coffee drinker, I would never go anywhere and order coffee ever. I don't drink coffee like that. I drink a Cinnabon coffee with Cinnabon cream. They're literally the only place that around here that has it. And then also like because of how much cereal now Food Lion has started getting bigger bags of cereal and the price is comparable to what Walmart is. And I'm like, once it gets to that point, then I wouldn't have to go to Walmart anymore either.
Yeah.
But it's like when you live in an area like I do, where I mean in my town I have an IGA, I have a Dollar General. Um, I have to go to Walmart, but it's in the next town over. But some people I know just don't have the option, and also it's a privilege to be able to shop at places that have higher pricing when you have option to do that.
Yeah. Zorgo, it's not surprising when you think about it. So the reason people liked the reason these company these I mean, the reason I would love to do it is the same reason that they would love to do it. They just have a bigger audience and are capable of doing it. Is places like the Tube, places like TikTok, places like all of these places, they make a lot of money off of our content and they pay shit. And they focus so much on the algorithm that they don't even push it out to our own followers most of the time, let alone new people. So it's like, if you've got a lot of followers that like your content, that watch your content, like say you watched like, you know, Dropout or Smosh or Good Mythical Morning or Try Guys or all of these people that are huge, and you watch all of their stuff, giving them $5 a month to watch consistent content, I can understand it. Oh, I worry about new creators. Zorgo, as a creator who is trying to grow into something that can be more consistent, I hear you. That wants to turn this literally into a job that can pay survival on, I hear you. It's not easy anymore. It's in fact, unless you are a huge creator, it's all 100% luck. There's nothing else to it at this point. It is luck. I know someone who got big because Shaq happened to see, like, and share one of their posts. That's what got them big enough to be able to make at least enough money to somewhat survive. And being able to pay other, well, yeah, like if I could make enough money to pay people to help me with the things that I'm horrible at, I guarantee I could grow more. Guaranteed. There are things that I'm not good at and I'm having to do everything. Because it takes time and it takes work and it takes knowledge and a lot of other things that I just, no one knows all of it. Most of the people that are big have paid others to help them get to that point.
Yeah, and just before we get on from that conversation, because I
Yeah.
see everybody talking about I don't ever shop at Walmart ever, and that's fine, and it's great, and I think it's awesome that some people live in an area where they can make those kind of choices.
Mhm.
I love it if you live in an area you can afford to make those. If you're living, you have enough money that you can afford to make those lifestyle. But the one thing, because I was in a space one day and they were shitting on people because they were talking about going to Walmart. Don't shit on people when they don't have a choice. What kind of sense does it make for me to drive 30 minutes to the closest Aldi's with gas being $4 a gallon just to cut off my nose and spite my face That doesn't make any damn sense. And it was just from so-called friendlies, from so-called people on the left that were saying that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's so freaking gross. Like, stop that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of food deserts now.
don't do that. Yes, like I have an IGA and we have like I have to go to Walmart or we have Food Line. Like I do most of my stuff at Food Line, but some stuff it is just way cheaper. And when I that 50 cents repeatedly makes a huge difference in what I get. Sometimes like when I have to get cat food, I always look for wherever there's a sale. So I try to go to Dollar General's on Saturdays. If you guys don't know, Dollar General does $5 off a $25 purchase or more. If you have the app, you can just click the coupon right to your phone. Or if you purchase something, when you purchase during the week, you get a coupon off for $5 off 25. Sometimes they do $10 off 40. And I try to make sure I put all my, wait and get my toilet paper and everything then and get it. But don't by mission, but
Yeah, Mission.
don't shit on people because where they have to go. If you have the ability to make that choice, that is freaking awesome. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
is amazing. Like listening to people, like somebody was sitting there naming the other day, like in my live, all the options, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh
If
yeah.
I go to Raleigh, I have all those options.
It's crazy. So within, let's say 2 miles, I can't guarantee on the distance on all of them, so I'll say 2 miles. Within 2 miles, probably within a mile of my house, I have a Target, a Publix, a Harris Teeter, a Sprouts, an Aldi, a Lidl, a Food Lion. I think that's it. That's all within about a mile and a half of my house. It's wild. I hate it. I kind of wish we had less. But there's a lot of people in our area, but still. Hey, Heidi.
That's a lot. Like we don't even have like literally I'd have to go to Raleigh. But it's like even like going from my dad's house who lives in Raleigh to like go to Costco and like the Trader Joe's is over there by the Costco. Just sometimes to get through the six lights after you get off the after you get off 540 if you don't want to go all the way through town, if you take 540, which is like a belt line around the Raleigh area for those of you that don't know, it's still to get those 5 or 6 lights can take you 30 to 45 minutes with traffic. That shit is insane. And I'm like, it is not worth it.
By the way, if you are in North Carolina, Heidi Sinsley, who's in the chat, she is running for a state seat in North Carolina. So especially if you're in North Carolina, but anyone, just another person who's stepping up and running for office. So support.
And I'm lucky too. Our Dollar General, if you've been here before, you've heard me say it. Ours took over when they had put out all those little, not the neighborhood Walmarts, but when they did those basically like little mini Walmarts. When they did that and then they closed them all during C19, ours actually had a gas station. So our Dollar General moved across the street into that space because it's bigger. So like our Dollar General actually has like groceries. They have produce. They have meat. They've got dairy. They've got freezer stuff. They got veggies. They got all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to literally park your car at the gas pump, go get your stuff, and it's amazing. But y'all like pay attention to those apps and those coupons. Don't be like I watch people when you walk into a Food Lion. If you have a Food Lion near you, you can literally scan the QR code with your app. You don't have to print it, and any extra coupon, automatically gets downloaded. And when you put your number in, that's extra savings.
Mm-hmm.
I watch so many people just walk past that machine, and I'm like, do you not realize how much money you're wasting just walking by?
I mean that is definitely the one positive, and especially if you have the capability. I mean, we basically are keeping track of deals at all of the places, and we will shop anywhere that will give us a deal. We often make our meal plans based on what the deals are that week, so we can save money. Food Lion does it, Target does it, Harris Teeter does it. They all do it. All grocery stores nowadays do stuff like that.
Even IGA does their little coupon thing. I saved like $3 the other day. But don't be too uppity to use some savings, y'all. Look at I try not to pay full price. Get stuff when it's on sale if you can. Especially if it's like at food, like I got damn something the other day, and it was like literally I was able to get two for less than the price of one, some Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
My son loves Raisin Bran. They had it on sale 2 for $5, and then with your little scan on the QR code you got extra, so it was 2 for $4, and they're normally like 5 and some change a piece.
April, I only go to Harris Teeter when they've got good deals. The buy two get three free. They do those deals quite often. So like that is the only time I go to Harris Teeter. Their prices, same with Publix. I only go for their BOGO stuff. Their stuff is too expensive otherwise. It's not worth it. Probably 90% of what we get comes from either Lidl or Target, just because they're the ones close with the best deals right now for us. But like if you do sodas, they do like buy two get three free. They'll do it with like shredded cheese. They'll do buy two get three free at Harris Teeter on a lot of things, although it's probably less now than they used to. But yeah, you can get buy two get three free quite a lot. Thank you Gina.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. I think you were looking down whatever you're doing when you missed when I lit your roses in your gift gallery. Because you kept looking down. Yeah. I was like, what is he doing?
I'm working another show this week. So I was working a kids musical that ended not this most recent weekend, but the weekend before. And then it went right into another show. So I'm getting texts from people having to do with the show because we've got like 2 practices and then the show is this weekend. So they're all working on it while I'm doing this, and I just keep checking to make sure that the questions are not ones that I have to answer right away, because I'm running sound and audio for it. So, or I should say, I'm setting up sound and audio. Those are the same things. Lighting and audio. So I'm going to be running the audio and setting up, but I'm also setting up all the lighting for it. So they know how to hit buttons. The people that are doing know how to hit buttons, but I have to set it all up. But what's the show? Alice.
Gotcha. It is so expensive with the groceries and everything. It is just beyond ridiculous. And who was it? Alice, I think. Alice, yeah, April, sorry. April, same thing. When Food Lion does their $1.99, they do like boneless, skinless chicken breasts on sale, $1.99, or they'll do the chicken tender or the tenderloins. I buy as much of it as I can. I try to stay around $4 a pack, and my freezer is packed full of chicken. And I cut them up and I make homemade chicken nuggets. I do like fried chicken, like sometimes I'll coat it up. I'll either coat it up and do nuggets, or I'll put olive oil on it and make it with some kind of pasta on the side or rice on the side. And it's crazy. I never thought I love boneless, skinless breasts or thighs. That's my favorite. That's my favorite meat. Chicken meat is the thigh. And I'm like, it's crazy that you can get boneless, skinless thighs for less than a 73% freaking ground hamburger meat for like half the damn price.
One of the best purchases that we got a long time ago was a vacuum sealer thing. So anytime we get a really good sale on meats, I buy a ton and then seal them into like meal size quantities, and just pull one out, whatever we're doing, I pull it out and throw it in the sink so it thaws, and there you go.
I've always wanted one of those vacuum sealers. I've never gotten one, but I usually because Damon takes stuff to work for leftovers, so I make the entire and I like it when you don't have to buy a giant family size pack. You can get just your normal size packs, which would be, so I usually cook the whole thing and then we have it for leftovers the next day. Damon takes it for work.
We separate it out because storing it in the package only really works if you are going to use it all. If you store it in the package, you would end up having to potentially freeze some of it again, and that destroys the meat. I mean, it's still obviously edible, but it makes it more fibrous and stuff. So that's just why we don't do it, because it's already getting technically just in case you're wondering, you're buying chicken from a store, chances are it was already frozen once. So if you're freezing it, you're already freezing it twice. Just so that's just a reality. It comes frozen every time. Yes, it helps with freezer burn. Also, we don't use it very much anymore, but we've got a immersion circulator for cooking. That's great, especially if you're cooking like chicken breast. Immersion circulator is the best for sous vide, is the best for cooking chicken breast.
I don't know what that means. I don't ever cook. Chicken breast is my least favorite cut of meat, so I never cook a chicken breast whole. I either slice it into thinner, almost like fillets of chicken breast, and cook it like that, or I cut it up and I chunk it. But I never leave a chicken breast whole. It is my absolute least favorite.
So a sous vide is basically it's a coil with a thing that circulates the water, and it allows you to set a temperature in water for whatever you want. So if minimum for fully cooked of, say, a chicken breast, like the reason chicken breast is bad is because it's easily overcooked. So what you do is you set it for whatever that minimum temperature is. You put it in a bag, like either a Ziploc. I know some people do it in Ziplocs, or in my case, like I just use the vacuum sealer, and you put it in there and you set it to 100 and whatever number it is for minimum safe cooked, and you just put it in there and it literally gets to that temperature and it's not overcooked, and it's the only way I will eat chicken breast, because it comes out cooked perfectly. It's never overcooked when you cook with a sous vide. It just involves getting equipment, which costs money nowadays. The only reason I have it is because I got it for Christmas like years ago. It was like the one thing that I asked for.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna have to look it up, because I hear what you're saying, but my brain is struggling to process it. It's not making sense, and it's not because of what you're saying. It's just my brain is really struggling. I think if I see it like on a video and I can visually see it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great way to cook meat without overcooking it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd rather have a thigh leg quarter. Love to throw some leg quarters in the crock pot or in my air fryer.
Yeah, they use it a lot on cooking shows. Because again,
well, that would make sense, since I'm not a foodie and I don't watch cooking shows. That I don't know.
For sure. It's not a surprise.
Is.
It's not a surprise that you don't know what a sous vide is. There's a lot of people that don't know what a sous vide is. It's again, if it's one of those things, if you're not big into like cooking lots of different things and trying like a ton of different stuff, it's not necessary.
I can't help but see that comment and not reply, Phantom. Gotta rub him the right way.
again, please.
I couldn't help it. I could not.
Oh, goodness,
Like,
no.
I couldn't see it and just not and let it go by. I couldn't do it. But there is luckily like chicken is one of those things I could eat all the time. I also like to get like one of my favorite things to do because chicken is the only meat I will eat with lettuce. I don't like the way texture of meat and lettuce taste together. I've just gotten to the point because I found a Vidalia onion dressing that I really like with the chicken with the lettuce. So I'll just take some thighs and throw them in the crock pot and then shred them up. And then I'll put it with the lettuce and with that Vidalia onion dressing, and I'll just eat that for days. You just giggle. I don't think anybody will ever forget that. That's probably one of the best moments of this live, like ever. Hey, you tell me I'm right. See, even Emma, look at all the people laughing in the chat. That's what we need. We need some laughter. Because I tell you what, when I kept seeing all those little videos of that bullshit in Tennessee, especially the one with that white tea woman with that gleeful, glittery, just smile on her face, and then I got to see videos of my folks, my peoples out there being loud and just all up in the middle of it and saying, we're not going quietly, we're not sitting down without a fight. They should have just put their sheets on. They should have just put them on.
Oh
Should have
yeah.
just put them on.
Some of the videos that I saw of people that looked like me's reaction to the protests going on about like the redistricting and things like that is just, you might as well have had the white sheets on, because it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Did you see her smile? I mean,
Yes,
did you
the
see them all?
smile. The smile that lady gave was,
Yes.
if I was there, I would have.
I would have needed, you guys would have been bailing me out like that. They were laughing like they were at a fucking family reunion or something. They were at a meeting, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They basically had a meeting on the floor of the Tennessee place. That's exactly what they did.
Yep. Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see what comes of all this, because again, the one thing I've said it before and I will keep saying it. In order for the GOP to do what they're doing and have it succeed, they're making two assumptions. One is that more people think like they do, which again, I can't speak on the exact number. Obviously, we know it still exists, and obviously, especially with people in power and people in certain places, it exists hard. They're assuming A, that there's a lot of people that think like they do. B, there's a lot of that the people that are may think like they do to some extent, or at least think that there is no more racism in the world, aren't suffering enough from what's going on for them to vote differently. And the biggest one they're making an assumption is that everyone is going to vote the same way. They are diluting every single one of their districts in order to do these redistrictings. I've said this before. I was talking to one person in Florida who, you know, when before the redistricting they're trying to do there, they were in a R7.5 district. If the redistricting goes through, they are now in a R5.5 or 5 district. They're making a lot of assumptions. Texas, we've already talked about how they might have screwed themselves in Texas because they did the redistricting based on the idea that members of the Latino community are going to vote the way they did in 2024. I don't know if they're gonna vote the way they did in 2024. Not looking like they are. What is R? So what R 7.5 and R5 means is in the last election, Republicans won by 7.5%. Oh, I've talked to a lot of people in Florida. Talked to a lot of people everywhere. I talked to someone who's running in Florida. I guess was a better way to say it, but you know, we are the majority. Greg. I like how supposedly their name is Dave, but according to their account, it's Lori
This
Lee.
is Lori Lee.
That sounds like a bot to me.
Yeah, no videos, no reposts. That's why I teacup, because I went to that thing. And that's the thing. It ties into what I said earlier when I said racism is expensive. People need to understand expensive doesn't just mean money. It's just not money. It can be expensive more for the culture, for this country in just so many ways. You know, we talked about the fact if they wouldn't have been trying so hard to keep black folks out of going to college, it wouldn't be as expensive as it is now. But the problem is that like just like what we were talking about with that virus earlier or what have you, and it's like, oh, we don't worry about it because it's not a problem. I think for so long, I think that's literally this country is just coasted right along because it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. It's not, you know what I mean? Not yet. It seems like just like why did the Voting Rights Act have to be put in at all? Why did the 13th, 14th, 15th amendments of the Constitution have to be put on? Why did all these things have to be done? We are reactionary. Like there's so
Harold, this administration, the current man in as the president has printed more money and sent more money to overseas people than any other president combined. Literally like, any other president.
Yeah. Like, you know, they're sitting there talking about in Wake County, which I live in North Carolina. Wake County is where Raleigh is. They're talking about having to cut $10 million from the budget for schools and stuff. But you just gave $468 freaking million for fucking vouchers because you were so short-sighted. You don't think about things like that.
Yep.
You know, they did a poll on WRAL. I haven't actually looked into it to see like all the breakdown and everything. But do you know one of the things that the people that got polled in North Carolina, one of the top 3 or 4 things that they were worried about? Immigrants who are not supposed to voting in our elections. And I'm like, that tells me that people don't know enough about our laws. They don't know about the policies. They don't know how that shit works. And they're listening with their hate. When that kind of stuff is the first thing, that's one of your biggest priorities. You're listening with your hate. You've got your hateful ears on, your hateful eyes on.
I mean, here's the thing. That people not fully understanding how things work, which is especially easier nowadays, is a problem, honestly, on every side of the aisle in this country. That person that I was talking about, that I was doing in this comment argument on one of my threads a couple days ago, was convinced that the Democrat Party and the DNC are completely, I got you, are completely, are not the same. Are not the same. And it made me realize as I was watching this guy just dig himself into more holes, that they don't understand that because our because both of our parties are actually corporations, they can, if they wanted to, and they've shown that they can do it, they could just pick somebody. They don't have to have voting in terms of internal to the party. There still needs to be voting in terms of who actually wins. But in terms of the parties, they don't actually have to. They could just straight up pick if they wanted to. They can make their own rules about it. Look at the 2024 election during the primaries. I forget what state it was. I think it was Nevada. Tried to make it so it was a primary in those states, like a voting primary in those states instead of a caucus. And the RNC said, no, we're not going to listen to you. We don't care what you vote in. You can't tell us what to do. And I don't think people realize that the way, now again, is it like that everywhere? To some extent, yeah. I mean, it's different. There's usually a lot more regulations on how elections as a whole are done in a way that allows that requires things to be done differently even within parties. But parties are just organizations. They're just corporations that have the ability and right via the justice system to decide for themselves how they pick their choices. We don't actually, the fact that we get any say is a good thing. I think that's how it should be. But we seem to think that that's somehow when these groups do what they legally are allowed to do, we act as though they are somehow being what they, something that they aren't allowed to be or shouldn't be. When they're doing exactly what a corporation does. A corporation in American society, in American capitalism, in American economy, does whatever it thinks is best for itself. And we have been trained to, and this is where identity politics becomes the problem. We have allowed ourselves to identify with a party so deeply as a whole, not everybody, obviously, but we've allowed ourselves to identify to such an extent as a country over the decades that we are actually fighting for them in so many ways. And it's like, how about we don't? How about we don't? Yes, there are the people running in these parties going to be our only choices in most cases. Absolutely. And I will every moment pick the one that cares about humanity over everything. But I am not, my identity isn't a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or a Green Party or any organization. That is not who I am. I support the person that cares about people, that has humanity and empathy, and believes that all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, deserve rights, respect, dignity, and safety. Those are the people that I'm going to support. Do I think that is only of the two parties that only really have the capability of winning right now, especially in things like the presidential election? Is that only the Democratic Party? Yes. Does that mean that I'm even willing to officially register with the Democratic Party if necessary in order to make the future that I think we need? Yes, as someone who's been an independent his entire life. But that's not who I am. And we need to get out of that mentality. Because if you say I would never vote for a Democrat, they aren't Democrats, they're people. There are people that are running under the Democratic ticket that in any other world where we had multiple parties, they would never associate themselves probably with the Democratic Party or the Democrat Party. Probably never. But that's what they got to do. Can you say you would never vote? Absolutely. And that's why, in general, when I'm talking about people, I say conservative and progressive, things like that.
But I think even though that kind of includes because this is like I've said to you before, like the fact that you always say and like it almost sometimes comes off as defensive when you're like, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent. I'm like, that's just another box that you're throwing yourself into. And that's like, for me, like, I guess where my struggle, like, as through the years, is like, as I learn and grow more, I struggle with the understanding of, like, I'm a registered Democrat. It's something I did when I went to the thing, when I went and got my license or whatever. But other than that, I don't think about that shit. I don't think in my brain, like, I'm a Democrat. You
Right.
know, I would never, like, I don't understand why people wear it like they do, whether it's an independent or whether it's a Democrat or whether it's a Republican or whatever. Because I look at it as more of like, you've got progressive and then you've got conservatives. Conservatives want to take it back, hold it back. Conserve means to pretty much hold on to things as they are. And then you got progressives that make you want to go forward. I'm not for anybody in the middle. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Being in the middle, because too often the people that get punched down in by trying to maintain people in the middle are Black and brown people, the minorities, because they're usually the things, their wants and needs are often the things that get cut when it comes to making these quote unquote, when we make these deals and stuff like that. That tends to be the people that tend to get hurt regardless. And it's really frustrating. I feel like sometimes there's an entire conversation that we miss being here in this space a lot. I don't feel like we are taking this race stuff as seriously as we need to. I don't think the Democratic Party and their leadership overall and the people behind the DNC, like you say, the corporation behind the DNC, if they keep trying to push these moderate people, they keep throwing all their money towards these YT men and not women and other people of color, they are fucking themselves up. Because I'm telling you, I'm in spaces and I'm listening to people who look like me, who are a lot darker than me, that are really upset with the DNC as overall. How Black people keep getting shitted on, how brown people keep getting shitted on. Look what happened to Jasmine Crockett. All you motherfuckers are out here protesting and stuff, saying we want, and people are sitting here saying we want people to fight for us, but the people that are doing the fighting are the ones that the DNC keeps backing to get voted out. And I'm telling y'all, it might not, because a lot of you may be YT, you may not think I'm telling the truth, and you may not think it's that serious, but I'm telling you, between what's happening with all this gerrymandering bullshit with this racism, Like, it is literally throwing racism in the face of black people, especially again. If you
Mhm.
guys haven't seen what that fucking woman looked like, and you see those people almost giddy, like I said, they should have just went ahead and they should have put their sheets on. They should have went ahead and thrown their flags up, their Confederate flags all over the place. I'm telling y'all, you're gonna be this party. This country is gonna be in a world of hurt if a lot of black and brown, especially black folks, especially black women. I'm telling y'all, they're getting pissed off.
Mhm.
There needs to be people out here fucking protesting this stuff. We need to see people protesting the fact that they're just out here racially gerrymandering like the fuck out of this country. What are people, is it gonna take, like, literally seeing like a picture of the people in Congress and seeing how many black and brown people we have there now, what it's gonna look like after all this redistricting, what they're trying to do, rather the fact of that's what they actually get. Because Mike, what you're saying is right, like they are diluting their own, they can't see outside their fucking hate and they're diluting their own. It's the fact that they're trying, and it's
Sure.
not just in one little pocket in some little podunk fucking place that no one's ever heard of. It is happening all over this country in so many places. And I'm telling you, just like I felt like when the fact that we have that person being the person that he is, you guys know who I'm talking about, the orange one, as both the survivor and the victim of SA, I felt like a slap in the fucking face. Like, how dare anybody ever be okay with voting with somebody like that?
Mhm.
I just don't get it. We have to, y'all, I'm telling y'all, YT folks, you gotta get loud. You guys have got to start speaking up and stop being so fucking comfortable. I'm telling you, you are not going to be able to maintain this country without BIPOC people. You cannot do it. You don't have very much time left. If the numbers keep going, just the birth rate numbers keep going, there's going to be a seismic shift in who becomes the majorities and the minorities. Like, y'all, and I think, and it almost makes me, like, one of the things I hear people talk about in spaces, especially BIPOC spaces, is when these hateful people are doing, because what they don't want to happen is they're scared that black folks and BIPOC people are going to step in and take over, and God forbid if they treat those folks how we've been treated the entirety since we've been here. I literally heard a freaking YT man last night legit fucking say that the indigenous people were in his country. How fucking dare you, sir? How fucking dare you? In your country? And then to hear somebody else in here talking about that English is the official country of it, like has been always the language of this country. No, the fuck it's not. The people who were here for thousands of years before the white European people, none of them spoke English. And they didn't speak French and fucking Italian or German. That is not what they spoke. And
Mhm.
it's just like, do people forget? For some reason, people remember the fact that Texas was part of Mexico. Do you not understand? There's like it's a third of this country did belong to Mexico, was part of Mexico at some point. The entire western part, not just Texas, but Cali and there's so much. And it's like when people are like, they need to go back. Hello, this was their home. This was their home first. This whole stuff with race y'all have got to start getting on board. You have to have these conversations. I'm telling you, we are in a fucked up place, because not only that, what's starting to happen, I'm also hearing, especially some black women are getting apathetic to this shit, because it's like, why bother? Why should Jasmine Crockett get up there and be the only fucking one with the damn cojotes big enough to tell people what the fuck they're doing and not be all nice and prissy and we've got to follow rules and procedures? Fuck that shit. Fuck the damn rules. Have you guys not been watching? It's like you guys are playing. We're sitting here playing checkers and they're playing chess, and they have been for a fucking long time. This shit is so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And then I sat there and I listened to this man yesterday. Oh my God. He had me on my phone crying. He lives in Gaza. And he talked about how he had to dig 23 of his family members out of their home after it was attacked by the I country. And the fact that people are voting for somebody that legit said they wanted to fucking make Gaza into a resort area. Like your hate is just not contained, because like you hear people saying stuff like these little girls that that unalived in a freaking school, having stuff dropped out of the school on them. That just what's what happens in war. Now, what would y'all do if Iran was to drop presents out of the sky on one of our schools? Oh my fucking god, they would want to burn the whole world to pieces. And
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, I need you guys to wake up and be a lot more aware. There's more than just, yes, talking about voting is important. All of these things are important, but please, I need you guys to be putting your ears. I need you to take your blinders off, and I need you guys to listen, put your ears, not your comments, not your feelings in other spaces, but please make sure you're spending time in other spaces when they're talking about these different things that are going on, how it's making them feel. I'm telling you, if we have any chance of actually winning and making this country what we want it to be, like Mike talks about, first of all, you do have to vote. You have to vote in those primaries. Y'all, come on. You can't bitch about your choices if you're not willing to participate in setting those choices in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I will stop talking now. And I'm not going to apologize for yelling or anything like that, because I think sometimes we need to hear it. I think sometimes people need to stop being coddled, and they just need to fucking just wake up and realize what the fuck is really going on in this country. If you have not seen those videos with what happened in Tennessee, please watch the videos. Please look it up. Please look up. I don't even know how to, the creepy lady smiling. I mean, I could see her owning one of those cookbooks that taught you how to cook. Mm.
Yeah. When have I ever made you or requested you apologize for telling people this kind of truth? You never even question about whether you need to apologize. Not. That's the whole point of this podcast. That's the whole point of this space. These are things that people need to hear.
Now, I'm gonna just jump in here briefly because obviously I wholeheartedly support everything that kid said. Hey, be quiet. Let me finish, son. I wholeheartedly support everything that kid is saying, and she's that upset and that pissed off because it is that serious. That's the part that most of you all who don't really know the history and the trajectory of this country don't understand. It is that serious. Let's paint a very vivid picture. Let's paint a very, very vivid picture here. Imagine being chained together. Hang on one second.
And yes, he is absolutely right. If we don't pay attention, if we don't listen, if we as people that look like me don't get out and do more than just keyboard warrior, none of it matters. The Democrats will eventually find out how the Democrats are. That is that.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah. So listen here, y'all. Imagine people being chained together, shackled together, being unalive next to each other, having used the restroom on one another for days and days on end. Things like older men and women having oil put on their skin so they can appear to look younger, being inspected from head to toe, and I do mean from head to toe, every orifice, just to be treated and raised and bred as property, as a commodity. And part of y'all are thinking, oh no, well that's not where we're headed. Yes, hell it is. You think they won't go back to that? You're sorely mistaken. That's the slogan. That's why they want to make it great again. Because that's what they felt like it was great when we were being treated like that. This whole mindset of this thing being so far removed, It is not that long ago. My dad remembers seeing colored signs for a water fountain. That's just my dad. I've received hate messages and speech in my own spaces. It's not remotely gone. And if you think they won't treat you like that to get what they want accomplished, you're sorely mistaken.
And Roro, you're not getting it. And I appreciate you coming back and being in this space every single week, but there are literally two members of the Black community in this space telling you that what they are experiencing, it's happening everywhere. That's the point. This is I mean, it never
Sometimes
went away.
sometimes just listen, like especially like just give it a minute. Give it a second. Or the other option you have, just in case, because I don't know if we've said it out loud, we are also streaming on the tube. You can actually rewind it like right now. You can go back and you can actually hear what we've been talking about. And then it'll be posted after the live is done, so you can go back and rewatch the whole thing if you'd like to. But you can also do that too. Um, but when you hear, just try to be mindful when you walk into a space, and this is not just that one person, but everybody. When you walk into a space, like just give it a minute, just try to listen, and just try to go back through the chat, get context, or just ask, but just kind of be careful with what you're saying, because sometimes it comes off really tone deaf and like you're not reading the room. And I'd like to add on to what you said, Shug. Don't forget in Eaton, and the fact that women that were having babies on board, what happened to a lot of them because they did not want to bring their children here. They did not want to have their families. Do you guys like understand like that people like were ripped apart, like they were literally taking kids out of their arms and selling them to other people, like how when you breed your dogs. That's why I don't like that word mixed. That's why I don't like that word mixed when it comes to talking about biracial people. Like I can't stand it because it makes me think of mixed breed like a dog. That people were sold, like Shug said, as chattel. Like, do you understand? Like these big ass, like I know some people, when I told them I went to a plantation, they there's a lot of Black people that absolutely would not. And for me, it was something in my brain, and to see it and to know like that people, like legit people now have all this money and all this land and all this wealth that they built on the backs of fucking people. And like Shug said, even after they like just our parents, like my kid's grandmother, like I drive on a regular basis. I drive past the school she went to, segregated school. Every Sunday when I go to church, I sit in a building that was for it was a Blacks only high school, the only one in our county at the time. So do you not understand how that also affects education? That's why when people sit here and talk about, oh, it's so easy to go get all these records and stuff like that, I don't think people understood, because if you didn't have a way to make it to school, you didn't get to go to school. There's a lady that's in my church right now. We call her I'm gonna just call her mother. She raised 6 children. She doesn't know how to read or write. She was not allowed to go to school. And I don't think, and she's alive right now. And she's able to vote. But people don't think about, like, when they just say, oh, it's so easy. Just like when my great grandmother, before she passed away, the courthouse where it had all of the birth records for the people in her county in North Carolina burnt down. And that's way before the computer. So there's literally no copies for people to get if they didn't have them in their homes. Yep. I don't think people understand.
They don't realize that even the idea of, in some cases, depending on what areas you're talking about, the ability to read and write, the ability to travel, the ability, things that to so many of us seem, because of where we grew up, because of the bubbles we lived in, whatever, seemed just a constant, like just part of life, are actually privilege in some ways, in many ways. We don't realize it because there's just so much that we as a country don't realize, because we get so caught up in our own bubbles or our own lives. It's why things like empathy is important. That's why empathy is so important. The ability to listen to other people, not always understand, not again, I always say, I sit up here and I talk with people like Kia and Shug. It doesn't matter how much empathy I have, I will never understand what it's like to live, what it was like to live in this country in their shoes. Never. At least not unless things changed and we ended up getting actually treated the way that they have been treated their whole life. But we haven't, no matter what dumb people with my color skin are saying out there.
I just want to say, one of the other things that I've realized here, like when I do kind of, that's kind of like, it's almost like a need and like a guilty pleasure when I listen to like Erica, Hector, when I listen to them debate sometimes, because I want to hear filter yourself. What kind of things they say, what do they believe, whatever. What are they actively saying out of their mouths? Not people on TV, but like people who just pick up their freaking phone like we do every day and get on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And like the total ignorance and misinformation and misunderstanding about racism and what all of that is, for some, like one of the things, like, and I didn't know when I was like really young, I learned a dictionary gives you like a definition of a word, but not how it's actively used and what it can mean in context and what the current situation is. So for some reason, like people think that's why, like, you're going to go into spaces and you're going to hear it. There's a lot of times there's a topic could be Black people can't be racist. And people think that for some reason that being racist is just not liking somebody because of their skin color. And it's like, people don't even know what race is, and racism, it's a system. It's a system. Black people can't be racist because we're not in control of the systems. We didn't set up the systems. We're not in charge of all the systems between the education, the judiciary, all of the different things. We have never been in control of it. That's why Black people can't be racist. Your race, do you know there's 5 in the United States? Black, white, Indigenous, Asian, and Pacific Islander. That's it. And do you know it doesn't necessarily have to do with skin, it's phenotypes and stuff like that. It's like I need people. I think that's one of the other things we need to have a big education on, like the difference between racism, ethnicity, and nationality. Brown is not a race. Latino is not a race. Hispanic is not a race. Irish is not a race. African is not a race. There's a lot of things I don't think people don't understand about that. And that's one of the parts of the education. I think it's even the base part of it that people don't understand, that I think needs to be looked into more as well. It's not just the color of somebody's skin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand that, because do people know, like Haitian people, they're Latinos. Haiti is in Latin America. It's part of Latin America. It's one of the first founded Latin American countries. It's like the Dominican, and like all of these things. I beg y'all to go in some of these spaces and listen and learn. I'm telling you, the knowledge that gets dropped. They talk about different book titles that you can pick up and read on your own. But please do some education about this, because I think for a long time, honestly, Mike, being straight up frank, is I think a lot of white tea folks, even those that consider themselves to be our quote unquote ally, felt that like black people were just talking about the racism and it being like a victim card and stuff like that. And it's like we have been saying it didn't, I guess, seeing all these black people, these black men especially, well, not just black men, unalived, like on camera for everybody to fucking see. I guess that wasn't enough for you. Like you've got these people who are like actively, you can almost see like the smoke running behind them. They're running so fast to try to get their little racist ass hands to dilute the vote.
Hmm.
I want people to wake up and see, just because they're not wearing their sheets anymore and they're not burning their crosses does not mean that they are not still up to the same old thing. There's a lot of shit that has changed in this country, some things for the better, but there's a whole lot more. And when you got somebody actively taking apart the parts that were put in place to keep people safe and to make things fair, and now all of a sudden you have to start, how in 40 or 50 years, 60, 70 years, did things all of a sudden magically just become so good that we should now take away all the things that we put in place? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing all this shit with this voting? Why are they trying to make you hate immigrants so much? Why are they? That's the thing you have to think about. I've always been a why person. Why? Look into the why. You have to think about the why. Get over your own feelings, get uncomfortable, get some knowledge and some freaking education, spend some time in a space which you don't feel comfortable in. And that's the thing about it. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable.
Eric, what's pathetic is you coming in and making that statement in this space. That's
You
what's
don't ever get to
pathetic.
speak here again.
That's what. Here, this is why I say that what we're doing here is what's needed. If you felt uncomfortable, if you felt something in here while Kia and Shug were talking, or me, I guess, but I their experiences are more than whatever I can say. If you feel something, if you're feeling uncomfortable in any sort of way, if you're feeling like you're listening to something that isn't the world you know, sit with that. Process that. Because a lot of other people that look like me have done a lot of work to make us feel like what people such as Kia and Shug are saying are not true anymore, are just victim blaming and all the other dumb things that have been said about the racism in this country. It's the reason it still exists. People say it's because we keep talking about it. No, it's not because we keep talking about it, it still exists. It's because we never actually did anything as a country to fully get rid of it.
And let me just jump in and chime in on that for a moment. I promise you, I give you my absolute word that we would love nothing more than to stop talking about it. You hear me? Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna give you this analogy. If you're in a relationship with your significant other or whatever, right? You're your significant other, and let's say they cheated, okay? And you're like, hey, I forgive you. Okay? We're gonna move past this. Let's keep on, let's go ahead. And then they cheat again. And you're like, hey, what are you doing? You cheated. Stop cheating. And they're like, hey, I don't understand why you're getting on my back about this. Because you're still cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I can't let it go if you're still doing it.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Y'all, we can't move past it. You want to leave up all the flags. You want to leave up all the statues. You want to leave up all these reminders about just how racist you continue to be. You want to sit there and call people racial slurs. You want to discriminate against them. You want to continue. You want to unalive people based on their race because you can get away with it in some instances. You want to do all of that, and then you want to put the burden on us to somehow move past it. No, that
And
responsibility is on
yeah,
you. Change yourself. Stop being racist, and then we'll stop talking about it. We'll gladly drop it, but you drop it. We're not. We didn't start it in the first place.
yep. And that mentality, that idea, they're pushing in multiple things. It's like this whole TDS bullshit. I've said this before. The day I never have to mention that man's name again, best day of my life. I'm gonna have a party. I'm gonna have a party the second that I can that I guarantee if you are a progressive. All right, Kia. I'm about to be done too, but it would make nothing could be better than to not have to talk about this stuff. Whether it's progressives talking about conservatives, whether it's black people talking about racism, whether it's non-Christians or progressive Christians talking about Christian nationalism. None of us want to keep talking about this. But y'all keep coming in and doing this stuff. You want Christians to stop being the focus of all of this separation of church and state? Then Christians need to stop being the shitty people. You want black people to stop talking about racism? Then stop doing racist shit. We're literally watching in living color people that look like me actively gleefully taking away representation of people who were taken from gleefully taking away representation of the people whose ancestors were taken here by force, given no rights, and had to fight for what little they had. Why? Because of the color of their damn skin. And you wonder why we keep talking about it? You wonder why this is a thing? Anyone who says racism doesn't exist is ignorant or lying. Because that picture of that woman laughing while they take away the representation is the poster child picture.
Like, I'm gonna caveat it with this here. I'm gonna make 2 points, and I know you gotta get moving. The first of which, if anybody is struggling with understanding how this privilege works, or how white privilege works, it is this. White privilege means that you have the option and the privilege of being treated like a human being. It's that simple. You're treated like a human being. Okay? So, white people can be poor too. White people get unalived by the cops and what happened, what about first of all, number one, we know that. Okay? Two, nobody said we're okay with that. And three, it's still not because they were white. You understand?
Yep. Yep.
Those situations didn't happen because of their skin tone.
And again, for people with skin like mine, you're probably hearing Suge say that, and you can't process it. And that's understandable. I can't speak for Suge, but I guarantee I've known Suge long enough that I can guarantee if I said my brain can't process that reality, they'd probably go, yeah, I know. That's privilege. That's it right there. The fact that you live in a world, that you were able to live in a world that just because of your skin color, you cannot process what is going on with my camera? Focus, man. There you go. Just because of your skin color, you cannot process the lived experiences of people like Suge or other black people in the United States of America is the privilege. That means you lived a completely different life than them. It's understandable. This society was built on that, to give people with my skin tone privilege.
Yep. And that's the last thing I'll say. That's the second point I was going to make. Y'all, for those of you remotely who don't think that this is still a problem, then ask yourself this. Why would they take all of these efforts to redistrict, to seek the vote, to get our vote, to not get our vote, to get us to not vote? Why would it take all of that effort if racism wasn't a thing? What would they be doing it for?
And you know what? This almost goes around to where a lot of this conversation started today. Identity. It still comes down to people and their need for identity. So identity politics. It's all identity. Why they do it? Because their need to give how they identify some level of leg up, I don't know, is so great that they're willing to ignore humanity in order to make it happen.
You know what's sad about it? Is that just shows how bad that they are fumbling the bag. You are fumbling the bag so bad that you're already in power and you have to scramble this hard.
Yes.
Because of how bad you're screwing up.
Yes.
Like, wow. That's insane. It really is.
And again, I said it in the beginning, you may not have been here. It's still, they did everything they're doing is based on assumptions. Now, some of those assumptions in their areas especially may be right. Like we know Louisiana, we know Tennessee. Those countries are really, or those states are really bad when it comes to racism. I think there is this mentality, and we've seen it before, where they think that everybody thinks like they do. I don't think they realize, I think they're trying to ignore the shift that's happening. Yes, but Texas is a little different. Texas has a couple problems going against it. I think the Texas Republicans have been able to stay in power because so few people get out and vote in Texas. And I think you're seeing a shift in Texas that you're not seeing in some of these other states yet, like Louisiana. Anyways, this is a conversation that needs to keep happening. That it's not going to be over after this. We need to keep talking about these things. We need to keep pushing these things. Guys, I'm going to make a request, and I know people are already starting to jet out of here. If you know people that care anywhere, please ask them to join this community, this coalition of people, whether it's over on the tube or over here on TikTok. I know I ask it a lot, but after everything that's going on, we need this more than ever. The only way this message is going to truly move forward is if we can increase. The algorithm used to be a way you could really increase. It's not anymore. The fact is, the reality is that these corporations, these businesses don't want they don't want the message that we're trying to push out to grow. That's just a reality. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing, but I'm literally fighting an uphill battle just to have this kind of stuff grow. So any help would be greatly appreciated in terms of getting this coalition of people that want to have these hard conversations to grow, because it's necessary. It's the only way we're truly going to fix the problems that we got going on. It's the only way, and I mean that with all honesty and sincerity. It is the only way. If we think voting only is going to fix the problems, it's not. If we think getting Republicans out only is going to fix the problems, it's not. Will getting MAGA people out slow the progression? Maybe, yeah. But if we just keep doing this back and forth bullshit that we've been doing for the last 80 years, it's just gonna keep getting worse. It's just gonna keep getting worse. And I'd rather actually create a world where my kid, and if my kid decides to have a kid, and Shug's kid, and Kia's kids, and all your kids have a place where really all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, get rights, respect, dignity, and safety, then we got to do the work. We got to do the work. All of us. That's just that it's exhausting. Trust me. I've kind of fallen on a, I haven't posted as much as I usually do because my brain feels overwhelmed, but we got to get out there and we got to do the work. We have to. So guys, thank you for everything. If you aren't following over in the tube, please do. Please watch the stuff. Please share the stuff that's being posted over there. Help these candidates that want actual change to get some name recognition. Even if they don't win, let's just get them. Let's make it so the people that are voting get a choice. Please watch, please share. I'm trying to raise funds to go visit candidates around the country. I've already got one planned in Virginia / DC / New York. Thanks to the generosity of so many already. But there's places around the country that I want to go. So if you have the capability and are willing and all that other stuff, I do have a GoFundMe. You can find a link in the bio here on TikTok. There's a tag here, or if you're in the Discord, it's in the announcement section. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile, do something that makes you happy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.